No, I love the movie. I found it so unique for a horror film, and it almost felt like a modern day children's fable. So what's a ghost story or a children's fable that you remember scaring you?
Well, I was scared by Billy Goat's Gruff as a kid. That's something that I would get read to me often, and it terrified me so much to the point where I had to say, Mom, this isn't going to help me go to bed. Can we please stop? A lot of those stories, like even Hansel and Gretel and, Little Red Riding Hood, if you really think about it,
they're
dark themes to them.
Mm-hmm.
And all of those scared me when I was a kid.
What about you guys? Do you have any?
Well, now that I think, because back then when I was, well, not back then, I'm not old. Well, not like that.
Not like us.
But when I was like more of a little kid, I used to think Little Red Riding Hood was funny. But now when I think about it, it's actually very brutal.
Right, yes.
Yeah.
No, I mean, he's eating her grandmother, so it's kind of creepy.
I don't read a lot of old stories, but I do watch some old movies, and Alice in Wonderland really creeps me out.
Which Alice in Wonderland?
The first one, the old animated, the cartoon one.
The cartoon's
yes.
so scary.
It's creepy.
It's so creepy.
I got through half of it. I got to Tweedledee and Tweedledum, and I was out.
There's something about the cat too, how he comes in and out of the that as a kid really creeps me out. And I love the scene in the movie where you're telling them like a story, and it's like a horror story, but it's but it's not a story. It's like, and I was like, wow, this is really dark.
Yeah.
She's scaring the crap out of them.
And she's trying to put it to them as if it were like that was our thinking behind it, that Mama was trying to tell them like it was a fable, but she was also trying to do what she did, which was scare them because she wanted them to do what she wanted them to do. Right. So it was.
Now, I don't want to spoil anything either, but the movie, the finale, sort of ends a little, it's open-ended. So is revisiting this world something that you guys would be interested in the future?
Yes, I feel like everybody should revisit it.
Me and Percy, we kept talking to Mr. Alexander. We were like, hey, we're getting a sequel, right? He's like, if the movie does good. We're like, even if the movie doesn't do good, can we please do a sequel? So,
well, it doesn't work like that.
We gotta know how.
We can do it for fun because we have stories figured out. We have a prequel and sequels figured out.
Oh, that's awesome. And I'm trying not to spoil anything, but I want to see that dynamic happen in the future. Now, Halle, you have so many roles that people want to see you return to. I mean, just Storm, Catwoman, Sophia, and John Wick. Which role of yours are you personally most interested in revisiting, if any?
This one. I stay in the present. Some of those things have, gone by, and I don't know if you can go back to things like that. So I'm kind of in the present. I hope this does well enough that we get to all revisit this in some way.
This would be great.
Yeah.
Personally speaking, I want to know what Sharon Stone, what happened to her in the Flintstone days. That's me.
You do?
That's what
Rosetta,
I want to...
You want to know what happened to her?
No,
fair.
No. One thing I've always been curious about, though, when you filmed Catwoman, did you and Sharon Stone ever talk about the fact that you played a character named after her?
I think we did. I just ran into Sharon at the airport recently. I think we did.
Oh,
yeah,
that's cool.
I think she liked that.
That's amazing. Well, guys, thank you so much for your time with the movie. I loved it. And I'm just telling my son that, like, we've got to watch it. We watch all our horror movies together and stuff, so he's pretty excited for it.
How old is your son?
He's 17.
Oh, okay.
I know.
He can see it.
I know. I'm old. That's deceptive.
You're not old.
Oh, thanks. Thanks. You've already said that, the old stories thing, so you've already made me feel old, but it's fine.
I didn't mean it.
Look, there's no grays. Nobody can tell. Nobody can tell.
Yeah. Look, at this age, as long as I keep my hair, we're doing great. That's all I want. So thank you guys so much for your time. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
I love the movie, and I feel like it's such a unique horror movie, and it felt like a very like a modern day children's fable, right? So how many horror scripts do you feel like you might come across before you actually read something that's unique that audiences have never seen before?
A lot of scripts. A lot. I mean, I'm receiving a lot. I'm trying to read everything. Sometimes I can't because you know right away it's not the story. Mm-hmm. I usually kind of like put like a real attention on the log line. The log line for me is the key because it's you start with the log line, you develop a story, and at the end it will always be about you and me coming out of a movie theater and talking to someone and giving back that log line. Oh, I love this movie. It was about this and this. But I have to say that when I read Never Let Go the first time, it was called Motherland back then. I got like completely mesmerized by the voice of Casey and Ryan, the writers, the way they kind of created like fairy tale that was really about very dark stuff, about parenthood, about overprotection of your children, but also about trusting your parents, about what you give, what you transmit. And that layered fear was something that stayed with me days after I read the script. And I knew it was like, oh, okay, I have to, I have to be part of this.
I'm actually glad you brought that up because my next question was about the original title being Motherland. So what was the reason for the change? Because I like Motherland as well. Never Let Go and Motherland are both great titles. So why did you feel like the need to change it to Never Let Go?
A TV show that's called Motherland. That's like sometimes it's become as I love Motherland. I feel that Motherland was also like Never Let Go is a really good. Never Let Go always been part of it. It was Motherland, and Never Let Go was on the second page. So it was really like but Motherland has like this really kind of like focusing around exactly who's Halle Berry and what the movie is about, and especially about like the society we're living in, where like to have those two kids, one that believe and one that start asking question. It was also kind of like a really bigger like allegory about all of us today.
And I don't want to spoil anything, but the finale really kind of is a little open-ended. So is revisiting this world something that you'd be interested in?
When I made the movie, I was not really thinking about like beyond, but I think the theme is strong enough, and there is enough like backstory to explore or further story with the kids to explore, because that whatever they went through and the trauma that they carry out of the story is something that definitely could lead to another story.
Speaking of another story, I mean, it's been announced that you're coming back for Crawl 2. So my question is, how do you up the ante moving that to New York City rather than it being in a single home? And are there going to be multiple gators?
There were multiple gators in the first one already. They were like, Florida is full of gators. so there were like many. Like the problem in the New York setting is how we're going to, explain that many gators are here, and that's what we're working on. But it's very exciting to kind of, I really enjoy doing Crawl. It was like a very hard movie to put together because of the water and the storm and everything. And somehow enough time has passed that I completely forgot how terrible it was to be in the water all day long. So I'm ready to put my wetsuit back on.
Last question for you is that you've had your spins of certain reboots. So is there any other franchise left that you would really love to tackle?
Yes, there is a pile of like project that you don't want to cut the rope. Let's say that I like growing, because of course for one movie to get made there is many that you try to create, and you keep that pile and you're like, oh, we're going to find a way to make them. Some are like reboot and remakes, or like, because I feel that some stories like have kind of there is way of that goes from, of course, the Nightmare on Elm Street to Friday the 13th to like a very big classic movie that feel that they could be in a very interesting way brought back to the big screen. Scanners is another one.
I agree. It's crazy that those have not been seen in like 15 years when you think about it. Anyways, thank you so much for your time. I absolutely love the movie. Thanks.